This video is proudly sponsored by DigimonCard.io for all your Digimon card, deck building, deck list, card pricing, and discussion needs.
Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we're going to talk about the new support that Mastemon is getting in BT11. We're also going to have an example deck list at the end. I'll say it there too. This deck is really particular on the way that you build it and your ratios, and honestly just your play style as well. So this is definitely a deck that you have to make your own and make your own deck list for. The one at the end of the video is probably just more of a basis for something to start with, and then I'd hope you guys get some tweaks and make some own card choices to get it to really feel how you want to. But we're just going to go over the new cards. There's not a whole bunch, but we are going to go over them real quick. Base cards, we have Tokomon. So your turn once per turn, when you play a Digimon with Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel, and its traits, you get to draw one. That's off anything, which is quite nice. There's also Ignitemon, which is not necessarily in the archetype, but it is something that can get a lot of benefits. It is purple, which means you can't digivolve it on top of the Tokomon, but it has this really nice inheritable of all turns once per turn. When you play Digimon by an effect, you get to gain one memory, which means that if you have this as your Mastemon, you'd be able to gain a memory when you do the DNA Digivolution off that, which is quite nice and can come up as something pretty relevant as well. So there we go for those ones. Just nothing, again, not more support. It's more of the kind of high end. We do also have two new Angels and Fallen Angels. It is this Aandroidd and Devimon, and obviously they're supposed to have like this synergy between the two of them, where the Aandroidd has an on deletion. If you have a purple Digimon or purple Tamer in play, you get to play one Devimon from your trash without paying its memory cost. It's any Devimon, so it doesn't have to be this one. This is just the new one in the set. Also, I want to say that both of them can digivolve for 2 off of yellow or purple, which is great for the flexibility there. And then also there's this Devimon where you have a yellow Digimon or yellow Tamer in play. This Digimon gains Rush and Retail, which is really good too. This is essentially like Black Godamon, but since you can get some Angemon interactions, and just the fact that it's a Fallen Angel is good too. So I think it's probably a little better than Black Gado in future builds, especially because it can digivolve for 2. And the condition for it is not too terrible to meet there. So, and then we have our level 5. So it's the Aandroidd and Lady Devi. So Aandroidd, when digivolving, you may search the security stack for one card with Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel in its traits and reveal it. Add it to your hand. If you add a card to your hand, you get to recover 1. Then shuffle your security stack, and also your turn once per turn when you play Lady Devimon or Miri, you get to gain a memory, which is good there too. I've never ever played Miri to get the 1 extra memory, but I have played the Lady Devi and vice versa. It also has a great inheritable of opponent's turn where you have a purple Digimon in play. All your Digimon with Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel in their traits gain blocker, which is quite nice. There's also the Lady Devi, which is a when digivolving, you trash 1 card from your hand. If you do, you may return 1 Murray or 1 Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel and its traits from your trash to your hand. Sometimes I just use this effect to put a card in the trash and then I don't get something back. So that is, since it's a you may return, you don't have to do something, so it's good there. And then also your turn once per turn, when you play Aandroidd or Murray, you get to gain a memory as well. And it also has the great inheritable of opponent's turn. We have a yellow Digimon play. All your Digimon with Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel in their traits gain retaliation. So obviously if you have both of these, you'll have blocker retaliation, which is quite nice for you there and does help you out quite a bit as well. So I like both of these being in here. And they're just good like cards to help get from your level 5s to your level 6. And in general, the level 5s I think are just like the most expansive choices for a deck like this. Is probably where you're gonna have to be like the most careful for your ratios as well. So there are those two, and then we do have some tamers and options. These options are not necessarily in the archetype, but you can use them as well. I don't know if they're better than Cast Degradation or the Flame Hell Scythe, but we're going to talk about the tamer real quick. Just start your turn, you get to gain 1 memory. It's also a 5-cost tamer, which is honestly a little expensive for what it is. I don't think it'd be too bonkers if it was a 4-cost. There's probably some interaction that if it's a 4-cost tamer, you get to play it for free, so that I didn't want that. But man, 5 is just pretty tough for it. You almost, like if your opponent hits this off the top of your security, you're feeling really happy about it. But just the fact that you don't have a really good, like you just have to hard play it at times is really stinky. And like when you're in a deck that already kind of wants to hard play the Godamon, it kind of stinks. But it also means that you can digivolve the Gato in your raising area instead to keep it safe, and then go up your chain from there, because it has this your turn when your Digimon digivolves into Aandroidd or Lady Devi. If you have one or less Digimon in play, by suspending this tamer, you may play one Aandroidd or Lady Devi from your hand with a different name from the Digimon that digivolved without paying its memory cost. So essentially, you get to do like a really, really great DNA devolution on if you just have the one stack. So a good example is, again, if you have like Gatomon, you want to put in raising to keep it safe, you push it up, you digivolve into Lady Devi for one, you get to do whatever digivolving effect you get from there. And then after that, you can play a Aandroidd for free off the Murray. And then from there, you can really kind of go into your Mastemon, and then it's still your turn outright, which is great. And then you get to play something for free and get all the cool little inheritables from that. So all in all, that feels really good there. I think that would help out the deck a lot, and I think it's a very strong play. So that is the idea for this. There's also the 2 option cards. So there's Evil Squall. When you would use this card, if you have a purple tamer in play, reduce the cost by 1. And all of these cards need you to have either a yellow or purple tamer in play. So being able to get both requirements off Murray is kind of nice. Main delete 3 of your opponent's unsuspended level 5 or lower Digimon, which is not as good. Like if your opponent goes wide, there is a bunch it can get rid of, but it's not as impactful as perhaps the Holy Sunshine. That is same thing. It reduces to a 7 as long as you have a yellow tamer in play. And 3 of your opponent's Digimon get -5 KDP and security attack -1 until the end of your opponent's turn. So you can get rid of a bunch of level 4s, and it's also flexible enough to give security attack -1 to stuff, which is honestly the better way to play this deck. I think we're in a format where a lot of things get a bunch of security attacks or a bunch of swings, so gaining like recovery is not as impactful as giving security attack -1 in my opinion right now. So something like this could be a nice little tech option for some board removal, but also some sustain by getting rid of one of your opponent's Digimon from attacking or doing more damage than they would have on the next turn. So anyways, those are all the new cards that I saw from this set. Let's go to my example list. And here is my example deck list. And again, this is an example deck list. I think this is a deck that just is going to have a lot of tinkering. I think there's probably like 1 or 2 builds that you'll find the numbers and the ratios that you really like, and you'll do well with it. I don't know if this is it, but I think this is a really good starting point for anyone trying to approach the archetype in BT11. So keep that in mind. Don't just think this is the best list. I don't think it's the best list right now. I'm still testing it. I'm still doing some tinkering. Even just putting this on the screen, I changed like 2 or 3 ratios. So there's that. There's also some side cards that I'm also considering if there's room. Like this is a really, really tight 50 in a lot of ways, and I'm still, again, trying to figure it out. So, but we'll just go through it real quick. The low end, we do have Ignitemon, Gazimon, Candlemon, Psychemon, and Salamon. So we do have how many rookies? 11, I believe. Yeah, 11 rookies, which is, I think, a little bit more than average for a Mastemon list. And the reason that we are doing that is because the Murray really does let us start doing these plays in our raising area, and so we're rewarded for doing that. Normally we have to drop a Gato and hope it sticks, and then we get some plays. But with this deck, we actually aren't as afraid of doing some building in the raising area, and so I'm trying to promote that. Salamon being just another version of DNA Digivolve just means that we can run something like Meikumon, which I've decided to run for this just because it's yellow and purple. It does cost a little extra to Digivolve into, but I think it is worth it for that. It also has a good inheritable. It is also a good card to play off for security as well, which is a good card for our Mastemon in general. So I think it's just a solid card for the archetype still. There's a bunch of other level 4s like the Devi and the Aandroidd that we talked about earlier, but I decided just to do that to have the consistent yellow-purple at level 4, which also helps for running the BT3 Lady Devimon, because this can only Digivolve on top of a purple Digimon as well. So we have that play, but going into our rookies too, Candlemon is just like another version of the Ignitemon, and we're using it just in case we need that extra yellow for our for sources for items and stuff. We do have some purple tamers and yellow tamers, and since Demi-Marimon is also purple, we're always going to have purple on that side. So having this, it's only when you play another purple Digimon, but that's still it's something that we can do quite easily, so that's strong there just to get the memory gain. So Ignitemon is just more, it's only by an effect, but it's when you play it, so both are pretty flexible for what it is. It also has a one attacking by deleting one of your other Digimon, delete one of your opponents unsuspended with a level less than or equal to the same. So there are some actually nice plays you could do with this by deleting, like, for example, your own or Ophanimon fall down mode, which would mean that you get to trigger the on deletion effect, which means you get to play something for free and just go up the effects from there. So it's actually sometimes comes up as well, so it's a nice little effect there. For I think level 4s are pretty understood there. Ghazi and Psyche are pretty understood too. Aandroidd and Lady Devi, we did a 3-2 split. I think the blocker inheritable is just strictly better than the retaliation one. It's nice for what it is, but I think we'd want blocker more consistently. And then we also put in 2 of the Lady Devs to draw 2 and trash 2. We're running 9 level 5s, and we're doing a little bit more on the Aandroidd side, but the fact that this can look through our security to try to find a Lady Dev is good there too. But obviously, I don't know, these ratios are just so hard to find sometimes, and something that makes sense. I really also do like this Aandroidd, and I think it's just better than Magna, which we are not running in this deck. This is, I think, a staple for a lot of yellow decks, at least Mastemon decks going into this, and it is strong for what it is. But again, I think the security attack minus is more impactful right now, and the fact that the card is also named Aandroidd is something that is helpful for it, and it has a good inheritable of security attack +1, so I think that is just a little bit better than Magna in the deck. But I know it felt really weird building this without putting Magna Aandroidd in it. I just didn't feel like there was room when we're trying to do such a name of Aandroidd and Lady Dev in there. So 4 Masties. I almost put this down to 3. If you see this more often, I think that makes sense. Also, Ophanimon fall down mode. I really like this card, and sometimes it's just better to go into compared to Mastemon 2, since this does get the inherent recovery, and it's just more flexible for what you are. But either or, you can change that up. If you want to do like a 2-3 split and find some more room, you can. The regulated 1 of Death Xmon, just because you're able to just play this card for free sometimes. It's a strong card. You all know that. I wanted to put it at 2, left it at 1. If you want to run it at 2, go for it. Are also 1 of Copy of Calling for Darkness. Part of the reason we're running more of these rookies that are purple too are just because we can find a rookie if we really, really need to. Just the fact that you can pay this for 1 on an empty board and draw 2 cards is still nuts, and it's very powerful. 3 of Flame Hell Scythe. This is less impactful than it has been, but it's still a good card to play something for free, whether it be the Gaudomon or the Aandroidd, or just if you're missing one of these for your effects. These are both 6Ks, which are nice too. And it can kind of make a difference. You can even just play like a Ghazi or a Psychemon if they're trying to, like, if you're playing against Crossheart and they're trying to do a Digicross for game, that can really shut them down and make them feel bad. So it's a good card. I want to run it at 4. I couldn't, so we're running it at 3. Also 4 of Chaos Degradation. If you want to swap the ratios between Flame Hell Scythe and Chaos Degradation, go for it. This just is universally better in a lot of ways. It will lose to Black War X if they do have the new Tamer to stop you from getting affected by option cards, but it's really great removal in a lot of ways still. So you kind of have to run it. Again, if you're playing against Grandis, if they hit into this, you probably win the game, and so that's pretty strong in its own way. Mireille is, we've talked about. I wanted to run it at 4. I just couldn't find space, so we put it at 3. If you want to run it at 4, go for it, because we do want 2 Karis just to have a Tamer to set us our memory to 3. We sometimes are just memory choked ourselves, and so this can be very impactful, and it can gain memory from all the recovery effects that we have. Then I also liked Mako. If you like Purple Mem Boost better, go for it. That's up to you. I like this a little bit better because it can search for more things, because we're such a split between yellow and purple stuff, and sometimes we need to find specifically one of our level 5s, and this being able to find both is really good. This one's only able to find Lady Devi, which we are running less of, so we'd want to find it more than a regular Aandroidd, but I think that is also impactful. And there's just a bunch of ways to play a 2-color on both turns, and it's both turns as well. So if they hit into the Mako Insecurity, which you can stack in there, or you could already know is in there, then you could use this to gain an extra memory, and you play a card, and then Mastemon triggers to pop something level 4 or lower too. So that seems nice. I think that's worth it in its own way. But if you like Purple Mem Boost for the flexibility, I think that also makes sense. But that is my build for you guys here today. I look forward to your comments and recommendations from there. There's just a million ways to build this deck, and this is just my first one and what I'm cruising with right now. And again, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys kind of come up with the new stuff. So I don't think there's anything else. I really want to find room for Chaos Mode, just 1 of, and Aandroidd X Antibody, especially since this can get the inheritable of the new one, which means that it gets blocker and gives it to everything else. And the recovery and security attack -1 seems really, really tempting, but I just couldn't find the room for it, so we didn't go into it. But Anyways, that is going to be the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll catch you all next time.